Welcome to EyE on You. Mr. Ebrahim Hashem is a strategist, consultant, and scholar interested in the global economy, the world order, and Arab-China relations. He has been watching China's rise since 2011, when he did a strategic project related to China's 12th five-year plan for the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. On the 22nd September 2019, the UAE Minister of Economy said that the Belt and Road Initiative offers the world a new alternative to cooperation, a gift from China to the world. Obviously, the UAE is playing an increasingly important role in the initiative and has become a closer partner with China.
The Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office, the ETO in Dubai, which commenced operations in October last year, is the first ETO opened by the Hong Kong HKSAR Government in the Middle East and will strengthen Hong Kong's economic and trade relationships with its trading partners in the region, particularly the 6 member states of the Cooperation Council for the Arab States of the Gulf, the GCC. In the face of US pressures, the UAE has also insisted on cooperation with China in areas such as the communication technology. What will happen to the Arab-China relationships in the face of complex international situation ahead? Mr. Hashem has something to say.
Hello, Mr. Hashem. Thank you for coming to our show today.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yeah, so as long as we know that UAE and China has a very good relationship together, and there are lots of in different areas of cooperation. So can you tell us more about that?
Well, the UAE and China relations have been actually growing rapidly over the last 20 years. And this relation goes back thousands of years. A lot of people think the relation goes back to 1984. Then this is when UAE recognized the People's Republic of China. But for us and for the leadership in our country, we look at the really deep history of the relations between the two sides, and that relation goes back to the Silk Road. So that's really more than 2,000 years of really people-to-people trade relations. Now, recently, China has been rising as a really major power globally. And China's rise economically, technologically, scientifically, and also diplomatically and politically has attracted a lot of attention. And for us in UAE, China's rise has been a major advantage because we can actually trade more with China. So China is actually consuming more raw material to continue its growth. And from our side, we have a lot of resources. We have oil and gas, and we have excessive resources. So whatever we cannot really consume, we will be exporting. And China is one of our major oil clients, our major oil importers. And of course, if you look at the Chinese economy and our economy, there are so many complementarities between the two sides. So now China is economically developing and growing. With us, we will be continuing to just have that relationship and just collaboration in other areas, not only oil and gas. We want to go into technology and science and education and so on and so forth. So for us, in a nutshell, China's development has been really beneficial and has been really a major advantage.
Yeah. I would like to seek your opinion on the Belt and Road Initiative, as the UAE is a participant of the Belt and Road. What kind of opportunities do you think that the Belt and Road can provide to the participants?
The idea of the Belt and Road Initiative is brilliant. Mm-hmm. It's really increasing the connectivity between different parts of the world. And of course, looking at the Belt and Road projects, China is the hub of that initiative. China is the largest manufacturing nation. It's the largest exporter. It's in GDP, in PPP terms, it's the largest economy already. And for China to really continue growing, and for the rest of the countries in our region, for example, to continue growing, we want connectivity. And now that China has come a long way in terms of developing its own infrastructure, it has the capacity to really just export whatever it has in terms of cement production, steel production, and so on and so forth to other countries that are actually in need of these products, these services, or these capabilities. And because China has developed these capabilities, China now can export these capabilities to countries in our region and countries in other regions, in Africa, in Europe, in Latin America, and so on and so forth. Now, going back to the point that you raised about the opportunities are really related to building infrastructure, allowing the developing countries to really just take the first step in their journey, or maybe the initial steps of their journey to becoming maybe middle income countries, hopefully in the future developed countries. And without the infrastructure, it's very difficult to really develop the economies. There will be a lot of inefficiencies in the economy. So UAE is one of the founding members of AIIB, so the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank. UAE was one of the founding members, and UAE contributes to the bank in terms of capital contribution. And we have done a number of projects with China as part of the umbrella of the Belt and Road Initiative. So we jointly invested in different projects within our country, within China, and in third-party countries in Africa and other regions. So this has been really, really beneficial, not only for China, not only for our region, but for a lot of other regions. And hopefully, listening to Xi Jinping's recent speech, this is something that is going to be continued for the foreseeable future. And this is something really we are happy about.
Mentioning Xi Jinping's speech on the 20th National Congress, which part did it grab your attention?
Well, the speech was very, very insightful. I actually watched it all. And I paid very close attention to all the sections that really he highlighted. Initially, of course, he talked about the need to have patriots, Chinese patriots, to lead Hong Kong, right? This has been the biggest challenge for Hong Kong over the last 3 years. And of course, now with the changes in the administration, now we have a new CEO, Mr. John Lee. I personally think the speech and linking it with Hong Kong, and of course linking it with Taiwan. Of course, in that speech, he highlighted that China will continue trying to resolve the Taiwan issue. And so that was one part that really caught my attention. The other part was related to the economy. So based on the speech, it looks like the Chinese economy, at least from the leadership's point of view, will continue to open up. Right. The economy is not going to be closed. For China, having reached this level of development, it's an important step, or it's an important feature, or it's an important strategy to continue opening up to the rest of the world, so that China can continue growing economically and so on and so forth. And of course, bringing Hong Kong into the speech, and also the economic strategy of China, based on what he mentioned in his speech, the interplay between the domestic and the international flows, economic flows. And the role of Hong Kong is extremely important, especially considering Hong Kong is a gateway to China, and a gateway from China to the world. So that part also kind of caught my attention. The other part was also his focus on security, the security of health of the people. So security will be critically important, and economic prosperity critically important. But the point that he raised about security and health, health is the top priority. We cannot compromise, based on what he said. He says we cannot compromise the health of our people just for the sake of economic growth. So that was something that also caught my attention. And the third one, or the last one, was about the focus on restructuring the supply side of the economy. So it looks like the manufacturing and the industrial bases of China, there will be a deeper look at that to really restructure, reform the industrial base in order to capture the next level of development for China, which is really focusing on high quality product development, innovation, and so on and so forth.
So for the Hong Kong's role, as you already say, that Hong Kong is the gateway for China to the world and acting as a bridge for the world and China. So it is a very important role, and we see that Hong Kong has a very good special features that we are having the common law system. And as we all know that Hong Kong, the ETO, it has been newly opened in Dubai last year, October. So how do you see Hong Kong's role after you have been listening to our presidency's speech on the 20th of the National Congress? And how does the relationship between UAE and Hong Kong can be utilized with the ETO opening?
So Hong Kong is like an entrepot of a city. It's a city, a port that actually connects east with west. Although it's being really centered in Asia, but still its focus is between the two sides. Now the office, the ETO, the Economic and Trade Office, opened in Dubai. If you look at it, it's true it's geographically located within Dubai, within UAE, but its role goes beyond Dubai. Dubai itself, if you just compare Dubai and Hong Kong, they are similar cities with similar economic structure. Both of them are externally oriented. Both of them actually pride themselves on being this gateway or this relay between East and West. In Dubai, we say this. We want to be the bridge between the East and the West. And of course, Hong Kong, because of its history and the legacy of the last 200 years, because the common law that you mentioned, not a lot of cities, not a lot of countries have it, and of course, it's not available in China. So for Hong Kong to really continue being important for both for China and for the rest of the world and for us in our region, Hong Kong is like the Panama Canal. It's really the moderator or modulator, ensuring the businesses coming from our region, for example. We have different laws, we have different processes, business processes, and so on and so forth. So to really get into mainland and just tap into the opportunities there, Hong Kong can just be that mediator. Really just, maybe smoothing the processes or just, synchronizing the processes between the two sides and then just bringing the two sides together to do business and so on and so forth. Looking at the Hong Kong economy and looking at the big picture, the transition, the economic center of gravity is moving from the west to the east. And if you look at the economic growth of our region, there is a huge potential for our region to continue growing. And there are a lot of investment opportunities in our region. And also at the same time, if you look at the countries, the rich countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia, and others, they have a lot of investment, most of their investment made in the West, in Europe and the United States. Now, these economies, if you look at their, especially in Europe, the trajectory of these economies are not really that steep, not that positive in the future. If Hong Kong really just plays that role to really just open China to our region, to our business people and investors, then Hong Kong will do a great service to both sides, to China mainland and to our region. So Hong Kong will be a major player in that kind of huge strategy of China.
Mentioning the economy of Hong Kong, how do you feel about the future of the economy of Hong Kong, especially when the US-China relationship is intensifying? How do you feel?
That's a very tough question. We never know what will happen in the future, but I have seen the numbers. So if we look at the economic structure of Hong Kong, more than 90% of it is services. And by default, around 90% of employment also is in the services sector. And I've been looking at the geopolitical kind of steps taken by United States, and also in response, the steps taken by China. I know Carrie Lam and also the current CEO have been blacklisted. They cannot travel to United States. I personally hope that Hong Kong as an economy, as a city, will not be blacklisted, will not be blockaded, will not be contained.
Right.
Not because, Hong Kong is not really kind of appreciated, because Hong Kong is the gateway of China to the world. And normally in business deals, when we do M&A, so merger and acquisition, if we are doing that deal, and if you are my competitor, and you are interested in an asset I'm selling to you, but I know if that asset goes to you, but I have to sell it. But I know at the same time, if I sell it to you, it's going to be adding strength to you. Then I will have to, some companies, what they do, they just try to damage the asset. And when you take it, it's not going to be adding value to you, and it's not going to be adding to your strategic strength. Now, going back to the economy, looking at the strategy of China, and also having talked to some CEOs within Hong Kong, looking at their initiatives, what they are doing for a long period of time, based on reading and talking to other people, they have given me the insight. But talking to them, I realized that they are actually working really hard to quickly diversify their markets, not relying heavily on the European market or the US market, or even not relying heavily on China for their manufacturing. So they are actually diversifying their factories. They are taking some factories outside of Guangdong, putting them in Vietnam, and so on and so forth. So doing that, they are getting ready for the future, so that in the future, if this rivalry, US and China rivalry, intensifies further, they will still have some cushion to really cushion themselves against any actions taken by any country.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your time today. And we hope that the Arab and China relations will be even getting better after the presidency speech. And thank you very much, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hashem. Thank you.